Alright, hello everyone. So, this past week, I've had a big problem. I've been trying to write websites. I want to, get a nice little personal website up, get some projects on there, get some stuff on there. Maybe someone will take a look at it and like, hey, that's cool. Maybe they'll even find my YouTube channel. But I've been wanting to write a website. And my biggest problem has been that I do not like writing HTML. Not because it's bad, but because I find it overly tedious. I'm always typing angle brackets all the time. There's a bunch of other boilerplate that I have to deal with, all of your metadata, and then you gotta define divs, body, p, ul, li, a. There's just a lot of stuff that's tedious to do, and I don't really like. So if you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll know that I write all of my documents with Pandoc using Markdown. Now, Markdown's an amazing markup language, and it pretty much does a lot really well, and it's simple to read and easy to learn. And at the time, I did not know that Markdown actually has compiling to HTML, because the original Markdown you could convert it, I guess would be a better word, to HTML, but more or less it's probably not nearly as featured as Pandoc, which has a lot of extra stuff that Markdown doesn't have. That generally makes writing websites and deploying them way easier. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a really nice looking website using only Markdown and with only free and open source tools. Yeah, guys, no Visual Studio Code with whatever crap plugins you use. We're going to be using only Vim and only Markdown to write this website. Now, so to start, you want to, create a basic Markdown document. Now, this is a sample I have here. I just threw in some random text and a few things. And already at the top, you can see that we have this title metadata option, which is pretty much just sets the page title overall, and then something in the tab, the page tab on your browser as well. You can also define custom metadata options, but that's for a whole nother video because the topic itself is pretty deep. But anyway, this is our basic Markdown file. You got a few links, a header, subheader, lists, numbered lists, a bunch of stuff like that. So as you can see, I have links to different pages in HTML files, and I'll explain that in just a moment. But yeah, so this is kind of your basic file that you'll have when you're writing websites with Markdown. So we can start by using pandoc-s-f markdown. Oh. And then we provide that index.markdown file, and then we want to output it as index.html. Now that should finish compiling pretty quickly. Oh. Wrong file. So as you can see, Pandoc provides you with a bit of styles right off the back, just to kind of make it look nice. But as you can see, we can see our P's, headers, all of that. It's not formatted nicely because I don't think that the default template for Pandoc is for HTML documents with Pandoc is prettified, but honestly, who cares? We're just writing a website here. All we really care about is, our Markdown file, if that looks nice. So anyway, this is a very easy way to write websites, and actually I should probably open that page for you. So yeah, it provides a few styles just to make it look all nice and not absolutely just terrible. But overall, this is already a pretty serviceable minimalist website, and it looks nice. You got different links to different pages. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with this. Now that's kind of the basics of it. So you can also add in a CSS style sheet with Pandoc. Now I just kind of assembled a really simple and quick one here using the Everforest color scheme. Just a few other, rules. Looks like this is duplicated. We can delete that. But just some general things that you might want to add, body content, made that have some padding, content left and right have a few margins, changing background colors and whatnot. So when you compile that document, you can also pass in the C, or I think it's the CSS flag, and you can just specify a CSS file to use as your style sheet. So if we open that up again, as you can see, now it's in that kind of style, and I think I accidentally deleted something important. Oops. But as you can see, it's all styled. It has, different colors, different hover tag colors, whatnot. So you can pass in pretty simple style sheets to Pandoc, and it will handle it really well. It will just give you the proper path for where the style sheet is, and it's really nice. Now what you can also do is you can just link other pages. So if we take a look at our pages, I have a few pages here, right? So you can navigate to those. You can just set a link direct to a local directory file. I want to go to this page, so if we open that file again, I keep forgetting it's on a separate tag, we can go to about, and you have a nice article, or whatever you want to call, just kind of basic what am I trying to say? You can link other pages. It's easy and simple. Now you may notice that this doesn't really have nice formatting, but this page does, and it's generally organized. So if we open up that about.md, as you can see, there's a few things. Number one, what are these? You may be asking, what are these colons? Well, that's one of the super useful extensions that Pandoc comes included within the box, called fenced divs. Now, I'll show you the actual extension name when I get to that part, but pretty much this allows you to define entire divs to wrap all of your content in. So for instance, I have a content div, and what this does is it takes all of the text, all the elements within those two sets of colons, and it must be 3 or more colons, and then in braces next to it have like an ID name or a class name. Pretty easy stuff. So anything contained within those colon braces, if you can even call them that, is will be contained within a div with an ID and class name, or class name if you just set a class name of that div. So I could have, like, say, a div for nav items where I give them, okay, you need to be aligned in the center. Any links that you hover on, make sure they turn like certain color, or I have a footer in the bottom and I need to make sure that they have the right size, or I want this content to be centered on the screen. So that's what you can do with fenced divs, and we can even implement that in here. If we go to the top here, 1, 2, 3 colons, hash content, and we can do 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have to do 4. I just do it because it's nice on my eyes. But you can do that, and we can say, all right, and that div here, and that div here, and we can compile it and open it up in our browser, and you can see it's now all contained within that content div. If we even take a look at that CSS, right, you can see, oh, all of that's within that content header, that ID, all within content. So it's really, really nice to have that. And honestly, if you want to go ultra minimalist, that's the only extension I would really encourage you to use. But Anyway, I have a little fancy script that kind of shows you all of what you can, some of the important extensions I use. I prefer pipe tables, link attributes, raw attribute, and fence divs. Now, I'll talk about these two in a bit when I get more to the workflow of actually using another tool to automate compiling all of your pages, putting them into nice orderly fashion, and then syncing them with the server. But generally, I like pipe tables because you can make table elements for HTML really easily with Markdown. And then link attributes and raw attributes are mainly used to give certain classes to, say, like links or certain text objects, or you want to actually insert raw HTML code within your site. You know, if you're trying to like embed, like say a YouTube video in your website and you just have, you know, raw HTML code and you just want to embed that and not have to worry about writing it in Markdown, you can do that. Really nice. And then, you know, just style sheet and then out as an index.html file. So this is really nice if you just want to, you know, make one simple page where, you know, you got just a bunch of stuff and that's it. You can make pretty much anything really easily with this. But once you start getting more and more pages, actually making the site, getting it all organized and deploying it properly is going to be more of a hassle than it's worth. And honestly, it's no different than managing a full static HTML site. So I made a bit of a solution. That's kind of why I haven't been all that present this week, because I have found a super easy way to generate these static websites, and that's using Gnu Make. Now, if you don't know what Gnu Make is pretty much just a command line utility and a build tool. Mainly it's used in C and C++ projects. It does, you know, you can write a basic script and say, hey, I want these source files, compile them, put them here, these libraries, I want to include them. Generally, it's a nice build tool, but it's also really powerful in the fact that it's also kind of scriptable. So here I have a simple make file that's designed to make static websites. And yeah, you can do this. It's really, really nice, and it generally is very useful. Now, of course, make files are kind of meant for code, but honestly, to a point, you're managing code. So all of what this does is it just gets 3 directories for all of your files, all of your Markdown files, all of your style sheets, all of the data. I'll get onto that folder in just a moment. And then, you know, your build directory, and then I have a few build ops for all of your extensions for Pandoc when you're compiling the site. And then if you want to upload this and sync this with something like a web server, or like say you have a Raspberry Pi on your local network that you port forward to have a little mini site on, this is using rsync to sync all of those files direct to that remote web server really easily, and you just type in a command, boom, gets there. So all of what this is really doing is just it looks for all of those source files, all of those Markdown files, HTML, CSS, and pretty much what it's doing is it says, you know, I want to make sure that all of them, we have CSS and HTML files in the build directory, copy over all the source files, make sure that I build all of these files, and make sure that they're all output to the right spot. And that's pretty much all this does. I don't really want to go deep into Make because it's its own other topic, and honestly, this was a lot of Google to help with this, but it's I managed to get it working, and it's a really, really cool tool. So, starting out, if you want to make a simple project, actually, I'll probably even pull up a tree view, but as you can see, we have our source directory right here, which contains all of our Markdown files for all of our pages. contains the data directory, which contains, images, fonts, and other kinds of stuff that you want to have, but you want to manage a bit more independently and not have the Makefile touch it as much. And then you have the build directory, which has, all of those files, all nice. So this build is just the root of your site, and you see index.html, you have all of those other types of pages. And what makes this really, really nice is that the Makefile handles, making sure that all of these, that your style sheets are linked up to all of your pages. So all of these pages, despite being in multiple subdirectories, all have their style sheet appear properly, and it works really nice. So when we start off, I'm gonna pull up that index file. So I have a bit of a basic file. Now I already have those divs, but I'm gonna kind of show you a bit of some really cool stuff you can do. Now you'll probably already see on these are just images. You see that I have curly braces, and you may be wondering, well, what are these for? Well, this is what you call the link attributes package, or not package, extension. And what this does is it allows you to specify certain properties for an element. For instance, I specify a width here and the class here, and it's really nice for things like images because it centers them, or you can do manipulating them in any way and not necessarily have them be restrained by their resolution or take up half the entire page, because nobody likes that. So that's what these do. Now, this is really, really cool, because you can just have it all the way you want and don't have to do any fumbling with images. And honestly, you kind of need this for websites, especially with images, because things get all wonky. But you can also do direct code insertion. Now I'm going to show you how to do that, since I don't have it in this example file. But all you have to do is take code blocks and say I want a, a header that says, this is HTML code in my Markdown file. So we can do that in a header. Now, at the end, all you gotta do is open curly brace equals and then the name of your language. So HTML in this case. You can also encapsulate them in single brackets. I think this is freaking out, so I'm just gonna do it in single bracket, single ticks, backticks. But this allows you to specify raw HTML code within your Markdown document, which is super useful and is very practical, especially when you're doing things like you're embedding something, say like a YouTube video from a website. I'm not sure if I already said that, but it has its uses. So anyway, now if you want to make and deploy a website, first of all, make just builds everything. So you can do make clean to just nuke the build directory. So if we do ls, it just entirely removes the directory. So, removes the directory. If you do make, it builds that, and you can see ls builds there. And if we ls that, you can see all of our data, our favicon, our pages, all of our CSS is all there. Now, you can also do make test. And what this does is it opens up everything in a browser. Now, I think I forgot to close a div there. Oh well. So anyway, I have a little site. As you can see, there's our embedded code, but you can also see that there are different images with different sizes, and they're centered and they constrain properly. So like for instance, I can take a smaller device and it still is within those constraints. So that's really nice. You can also see that if I click on some links, you can see that they follow to their proper pages, and I can go back and navigate pretty simply between everything. So I think, oh yeah, I forgot the left an empty image container there. So anyway, that's kind of generating and writing websites. Now you can also, if you see, if I look in that make file, I have Pi, which is just a Raspberry Pi actually sitting right next to me. But pretty much, if you have SSH keys and you can SSH into a server, you can sync all of those files with rsync. So all this does is say, hey, what user and what host name do you want to upload your files to, and then what directory. And all that does is it just uploads all of those files verbosely so you know what's going on. So I can do make sync, right? And oh, it's not being fun. Anyway, you can sync all of your changes with your web server really easy. Actually, I'll show you. You can see if I open up this, as you can see, you can, I have this uploading to my web server. Good luck getting into it. You probably won't. Anyway, pretty much it's syncing. Now we could do make clean, make, gets all that stuff, and make sync, and it all just uploads everything, syncs everything with your remote web server. And actually, I can probably show this off now, but you can also, this data directory pretty much is just copied, and it really keeps everything within that directory really nice, keeps everything together so you know where it is, and best of all, none of the stuff gets messed up. So you don't have to like do any weird kind of wizardry within your files just to make sure that images appear. So generally it's really nice for that. So anyway, now that's kind of a bit of a basic overview of deploying and making websites with Pandoc. Again, it's super nice, super easy, super simple, and you can do a lot with it. I have my little website. There's, tables. You can embed images. You can, embed links. There's actually code blocks too. So Pandoc has handling for embedding code into your website and syntax highlighting it pretty accurately. And so you can just make some really nice websites. You can embed YouTube videos. As you can see, I've embedded my own YouTube videos here. You can also, set text. It's still under construction, but you can see you can do a lot of really interesting stuff with this, and it's fairly simple to do. All you really need is just an editor. You need a bit of a will to spend a bit of time, writing some stuff, but otherwise it is very simple to do. And actually, I might even show you I'll actually show you how to embed videos using code block raw attributes for embedding YouTube videos within your site. So as you can see, we have this video, big iframe, but all you can do is just keep it contained within backticks, keep that open curly brace equals HTML close curly brace, and it appears as raw HTML. Really nice, super easy way to just instantly insert files. And as you can see here, preserving, sometimes you may want to preserve certain characters, like for instance asterisks. You can just embed them within that the raw HTML, and it allows you to do all of that pretty easily. So yeah, that is a bit of an overview on creating websites with Pandoc Super simple for creating any type of static website, easy to deploy. Probably by the time this video goes up, I'll also have a GitHub page open, a GitHub repository with all of the basic boilerplate stuff, so you can actually take a look and browse at everything and maybe even deploy your own websites. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. I will see you all in the next one.